On a sunny Tuesday afternoon, you would never expect to see the face of hatred at a rural gas station. But prejudice waits for neither darkness nor privacy. Sometimes it happens in broad daylight, in front of people who watch, afraid to intervene. And you can never stop it. For Maya Henderson, that moment came at a worn-down gas station on Highway 52, where the paint was peeling, and no one seemed willing to help. Maya had been driving for nearly 4 hours, returning home from a 3-day nursing conference in a neighboring state. 32-year-old Maya had a very dark complexion that glowed with health, despite her fatigue, natural hair styled into a neat professional bun, and the steady assessing gaze she had acquired from working with trauma cases in the emergency room at County Memorial Hospital for 10 years. She had seen people at their worst, bleeding, screaming, dying, and had learned to keep her cool while others panicked. She knew everything her profession demanded. The conference had been intense. 3 days of workshops on gunshot wound protocols, seminars on treating opioid overdoses, case studies on managing sepsis. Maya's head was full of new information. Her body ached from 3 nights of poor sleep at the hotel, and she was eager to get back to her small apartment for a long bath and sleep in her own bed. These 3 days had worn Maya out. Hoping to find a better gas station, she had ignored the fuel warning light for 20 miles. But the road sign finally forced her decision. Last gas station, next station 40 miles. Her practical nurse's mind did the math. Her tank was nearly empty, and it would be foolish to risk driving another 40 miles. She had to pull into a gas station immediately and get gas. The gas station suddenly appeared after a bend in the highway. It was a brick building with peeling white paint, a faded roof, a cracked asphalt parking lot overgrown with weeds, and a flashing neon sign that read, "Last Chance Fuel." Heat waves shimmered on the asphalt in the afternoon sun. Maya pulled into the parking lot and immediately noticed the motorcycles. 7 motorcycles were lined up next to the building like chrome soldiers. Most were Harley Davidsons, large touring bikes with leather saddlebags and custom paint jobs. Their riders were sprawled on the bench in front of the store. 5 men were visible, perhaps more inside, all white, all wearing leather vests covered in patches. This unsettled Maya a little, but she needed fuel. Maya could even see some symbols from her car. Confederate flags, skulls, emblems she'd seen in news reports about hate groups active in rural areas. Her stomach clenched with unease. But did she have a choice? The next gas station was 40 miles away, and her tank was nearly empty. If you were in Maya's place, what would you do as a single woman? Maya parked at the 3rd pump, the one furthest from the building and the gathering of bikers. In her rearview mirror, she saw the conversations near the building stop. Several men turned and looked at her car. The attention felt predatory, deliberate, and hostile. She took a deep breath, stepped out into the stifling heat. It must have been around 95 degrees, and approached the pump. She was wearing her usual travel outfit, a blue hospital scrub top and white sneakers because it was comfortable. Her nurse badge still hung from the end of the cord around her neck, her real name and the County Memorial Hospital logo clearly visible. She swiped her credit card, selected regular unleaded gasoline, lifted the nozzle, and inserted it into the tank. The smell of gasoline mixed with hot asphalt made her nose wrinkle. She squeezed the lever and heard the fuel start to flow, watching the digital display begin to rise. "Wow, wow, wow," a voice came from across the parking lot, deliberately loud. "Let's see what's going on here," came the voices. Maya didn't take her eyes off the pump's display, her heart racing. "Just get the gas and go. Don't make eye contact. Don't talk. Be invisible," she told herself. She was aware that even the slightest eye contact would get her into trouble. The sound of heavy boots on the pavement grew louder. Someone was approaching, and not just one person. Maya could hear multiple footsteps walking steadily, but not hurriedly, on the cracked asphalt. "I'm talking to you." The voice was closer now, masculine and aggressive. Maya forced herself to lift her head. 3 men stood about 10 feet away, a 4th approaching from the building. The one speaking was clearly the leader. In his mid-30s, his muscular body was trending toward obesity, his arms heavily tattooed, his beard unkempt, his eyes a cold blue. His leather vest was covered with several patches that Maya recognized as white supremacist symbols. There was a name patch over his heart that read, "Da Love, I Tebelowit Tarawit, Wayne President." "Can I help you?" Maya asked, keeping her voice calm and professional, using the tone she used when talking to difficult patients in the emergency room. She thought this might protect her. "Are you lost?" Dwayne asked, but his tone made it clear he didn't care if she found her way. "No, I'm just getting gas," Maya replied. "You see, that's funny," Dwayne said, taking another step closer, deliberately invading her personal space. "Because this isn't the kind of neighborhood your kind comes to. We don't get many visitors here, especially visitors of your kind," he said. The other men spread out slightly, forming a loose semicircle that blocked her way to the car door. One of them took out his phone and held it up, clearly recording. "Smile for the camera, sweetie," said the man holding the phone with a disgusting grin. "Let's get this on video." Maya was extremely uncomfortable with the situation, but she had no other choice. She had to stay calm. How calm could you stay if you were in Maya's place? Maya gripped the gas pump handle tighter. She had experienced similar things before. Subtle threats, not so subtle racism, constant reminders that some people saw her presence as a provocation. She usually swallowed her anger, kept quiet, got through it safely, and walked away. But this time felt a little different. But today, something inside her had changed. Maybe it was the exhaustion from the long conference. Maybe it was the accumulated weight of years of keeping her head down. Or maybe she was just tired of being afraid. "I'm just getting gas," she said, louder now, her voice carrying to the other end of the parking lot. "I paid with my credit card. I'm not bothering anyone. Then I'll be on my way," he said. He was trying to control the situation. He had only one desire, to get away from there as soon as possible. "Is that so?" Dwayne's face darkened. "Look, the problem is, we have rules here. And one of those rules is that certain people have to get permission before they come to our town," he said. Maya looked helplessly at the gas station building. Through the dirty window she could see a clerk, a young white woman in her mid-20s with blonde hair pulled back. The clerk was watching what was happening, her hand on the phone on the counter. But she didn't pick up the phone. She didn't call 911. She just watched with frightened eyes and then quickly looked away. Because she didn't want to get in trouble. Help wasn't coming from that direction. Maya was on her own. She had to find a solution. "I have a right to be here," Maya said, her voice trembling slightly. "This is a public business on a public highway. I have the right to buy fuel," she replied. One of the other men laughed, a sharp, ugly laugh. "You hear that, boys? She's talking about her rights," he said. Dwayne's face flushed with anger. "That's foul language. That's disrespectful," he said. Suddenly, he reached out and knocked over Maya's bag, which was sitting on the hood of her car. Its contents spilled onto the hot asphalt. Her wallet, car keys, cell phone, lipstick, hand sanitizer, the protein bar she kept hidden, her hospital ID card with her photo clearly visible. Everything was scattered around. "Pick them up," Maya said, her anger finally overcoming her fear. "Or what?" Dwayne's voice was low and threatening. "Are you going to call the police?" He deliberately kicked the car keys, scattering them across the sidewalk. "The sheriff is a very good friend of mine. I've known him since kindergarten. Please call him. I'm very curious to hear how that conversation will go," he said. The man holding the phone laughed and approached. "This is great content. Our followers will love this," he continued recording. Maya's hands clenched into fists at her sides. Every instinct told her to run, but there was nowhere to run. They had her completely cornered. Her car was behind her, these men were in front of her, and the building was 30 meters away, with more motorcyclists between her and her potential refuge. "Look," she said, forcing herself to breathe, trying to use the tension-reducing techniques she had learned in nursing school. "I really don't want to cause any trouble here. I just want to fill up my gas and go. That's all I want. Please," he said, trying to control the situation. He just wanted to leave. "It's too late for that," Dwayne said. "You caused trouble the moment you pulled into this station, by staying here, by acting like you have a right to be in our town." He moved closer, close enough to smell Maya's stale cigarette and body odor. "Look, girl, this is our town. It's been our town for generations, and we don't like it when outsiders come here and act like it's theirs." Maya felt her tears welling up, but she didn't let them fall. "I'm not an outsider. I've lived in this state my whole life. I work at County Memorial Hospital. I'm a nurse. I save lives." "A nurse?" Dwayne's voice was mocking. "How special? You got an education. You got a nice car. And now you think you can walk in wherever you want, however you want." He tapped the hospital ID card hanging from Maya's necklace with his fingers. "You think you're equal?" Maya's composure finally broke. "I don't think I'm equal. I know I'm equal. And what you're doing right now, harassing a woman who hasn't done anything because she's black, doesn't make you powerful. It makes you a coward. It makes you what everyone thinks you are when they see those patches. Racist and a bully." She couldn't stop the words before they left her mouth. She saw Dwayne's face turn bright red, his fist start to clench, him start to move toward her. And then he heard it, a sound that cut through the tension. Different from the others, the distinctive roar of a single motorcycle engine. Deeper, older, a special rumble that signaled serious power and meticulous care. Everyone froze. All heads turned toward the source of the sound. A lone Harley Davidson entered the parking lot. Probably from the 70s, it was an old model, perfectly maintained. The chrome gleamed in the afternoon sun. The rider gently stopped the Harley about 20 feet away from where Maya stood, near the pumps. He dismounted slowly, his movements careful and measured. He was probably in his mid-50s, a thick, gray-bearded man with deep lines, and his eyes seemed to have seen a lot. He wore faded jeans, worn motorcycle boots, and a leather vest over a plain black t-shirt. His vest had patches too, but these were different. No military badges, No motorcycle club emblems, nothing hateful, just a simple name patch that read Jack. He slowly removed his sunglasses and surveyed the scene before him. Maya was surrounded by 4 aggressive men, her belongings scattered on the ground, phones recording. There was no obvious emotion on his weathered face. He remained calm, but something in the atmosphere had changed. "Dwayne," Jack said quietly, his voice low but audible. "What's going on here?" Dwayne's confident stance faltered. "Jack Sullivan, I didn't expect to see you around here." "I go where I want," Jack said, his voice conversational but with an underlying steel-like hardness. "I've been traveling these roads for over 30 years. His eyes deliberately shifted from Dwayne to the other men, to Maya, to the scattered belongings on the floor, then back to Dwayne. "Looks like you kids are having some kind of disagreement with this lady." "That's none of your business, Jack," Dwayne said, his voice beginning to waver. "When I walk into a gas station and see 4 men surrounding a woman who's clearly just trying to get gas, when I see her personal belongings thrown on the ground, when I see them recording what looks like harassment on their phones, that's my job." Jack took a measured step forward. "Especially when that woman is being prevented from leaving. That's not just disrespectful, it's illegal." The young biker with the neck tattoo spoke defensively. "She disrespected us, Jack. She came into our town like she owned the place, and gave as good as she got. She was at a gas station," Jack said, his voice hardening, "on a public highway, buying gas with her own money. That's not disrespectful, that's called being a customer." He looked directly at Dwayne. "What I'm seeing right now is 4 men intimidating a woman. That's disrespectful." Dwayne's face flushed. "You don't understand how things have changed around here. We have rules now. We keep order." "Order." Jack repeated the word as if it had a bitter taste. "You call this order? 4 men intimidating a nurse just trying to get home?" He had seen Maya's hospital badge. "You're very brave, Dwayne. Your father would be proud of you." The mention of Dwayne's father elicited a visible reaction from him. A mixture of anger and shame appeared on Dwayne's face. "Don't mention my father," Dwayne said, his voice rising. "Your father worked with me for 15 years before he died of cancer," Jack said, disappointment in his voice. "And if he could see what you're doing now, he would be disgusted. This is not what we are supposed to represent." "Times have changed," Dwayne said defensively. "The old ways don't work anymore. We have to protect our territory." "By terrorizing innocent people?" Jack's voice rose for the first time. "By making a woman feel unsafe just because of the color of her skin? By harassing someone who saves lives? That's not protection, Dwayne. That's cowardice in a uniform." The parking lot fell silent, except for the buzzing of insects in the heat. Maya froze and watched the conflict unfold. Jack turned to Maya. "Ma'am, are you hurt?" Maya found her voice, but it was trembling. "No, sir. Not physically. They just wouldn't let me finish my gas. They wouldn't let me leave." Jack shook his head slowly, then turned to Dwayne with a completely expressionless face. "Here's what's going to happen. You boys are going to back off. This lady is going to finish filling up her gas. She's going to gather her things. Then she's going to get in her car and drive away safely. No one is going to follow her. No one will release those videos, and no one will bother her again. Is that perfectly clear?" "Or what?" challenged the man holding the phone. "You think you can take on all 4 of us?" Jack's expression didn't change, but his eyes hardened. "I've been riding motorcycles longer than you've been alive. I've been in more fights than you can count, and I have nothing left to lose but my self-respect." He paused, but more importantly, every word of this conversation is being recorded by the security camera up there. He pointed upward. Everyone's eyes turned to the camera mounted on the pumps. "Also, the dash cam in my bag, which has been recording since I arrived here, is capturing everything. So everything you say and do is documented." Dwayne looked at the camera, then at Jack's motorcycle. His confidence wavered. "Here's the situation," Jack continued calmly. "If you want, you can escalate this to higher authorities, but then I'll find people who will be very interested in these images. The State Police Civil Rights Division, the FBI Hate Crimes Task Force, lawyers specializing in civil rights violations." He added with a cool smile. "Or you can let this lady finish her business and leave. The choice is yours." Dwayne's jaw tightened. Regardless of Jack's reputation, Dwayne began to think twice. "This isn't over," Dwayne said, trying to maintain his dignity. "Yes, it is," Jack corrected flatly. "And if I hear that you're bothering anyone else here, those recordings go straight to the authorities. Got it?" Dwayne stared at Jack for a long moment, then nodded to his crew. "Let's go." The 4 men backed away and mounted their motorcycles. The engines roared. Dwayne shot Maya one last venomous look before the crew sped off, trailing noise and exhaust fumes. The silence that followed was deafening. Maya's legs trembled. She clung to her car for support. Jack moved carefully, keeping his distance. "Are you okay, ma'am?" "I think so." Maya's voice trembled. thank you. I don't know what's going to happen. Let's not think about that, Jack said gently. He crouched down and began gathering Maya's scattered belongings, respectfully handing them to her. You should call the police. You need to report this. Maya laughed bitterly. He said he was friends with the sheriff. That's probably true, Jack conceded. The local law enforcement here is problematic, but the state police are different. Federal agencies handle civil rights violations. He took out his phone. I'll give you my number. I'll send you copies of the records. You decide what to do. Why are you helping me? Maya asked. You seem like part of their world. Jack was silent for a long time. I was. For a very long time. I hung out with gangs, turned a blind eye to things I shouldn't have seen. He looked at his boots, but silence isn't neutrality. Silence is choosing a side, and for too long, I chose the wrong side. He looked into her eyes. I can't change the past. I can't take back the moments I should have spoken up, but I can do better now. Maya's eyes welled up. I'm Maya Henderson, Jack Sullivan, trying to be better than I used to be. They exchanged phone numbers. Jack waited until Maya's tank was full, then followed her to the county line on his Harley, making sure he wasn't being followed. After Maya safely crossed the border, he waved and turned back. That evening, Maya called the state police. She sent Jack's records. She gave detailed statements about Dwayne's threats and the sheriff's alleged involvement in the incident. The state police sighed. Iron County has been a troubled place for years. Local law enforcement doesn't protect everyone equally, so nothing will be done, Maya said, defeated. I didn't say that. This case will go to the district attorney's civil rights division. With the video evidence and similar complaints we've received, we might get results this time. The investigation progressed faster than expected. The district attorney's office had been preparing a case for months. Maya's incident involving Jack's recordings became the turning point they needed. Within weeks, state investigators arrived in the area. They interviewed dozens of people, other harassed passengers, frightened local residents, former crew members willing to speak. They uncovered a series of incidents that had been going on for years: systematic intimidation of minorities, involvement or complicity of local law enforcement, financial ties between the gang and local businesses. 2 months later, federal charges were filed: conspiracy to violate civil rights, assault, witness intimidation. Dwayne and 3 associates were arrested. The local sheriff resigned. The gas station was sold to new owners, a group of local investors. Maya received a call from a civil rights lawyer. We're organizing a community meeting. We want you to speak. Show that resistance is important. Jack called her personally. Things are different now. People need to see you. The meeting was filled with a diverse array of faces affected by years of intimidation. When Maya entered, the room erupted in applause. The following year, Maya became an advocate, working with civil rights organizations, helping victims report incidents, and testifying at state hearings. Jack did the same thing from a different angle. He gave speeches at motorcycle clubs, speaking out against racist rhetoric. He faced backlash, but persisted. Voices from within are heard differently, he told Maya. We need both approaches. Together, they forged an unexpected alliance. The gas station was transformed, renamed Community Fuel and More, painted in bright colors, equipped with proper safety measures, and staffed with diverse personnel. A mural was painted, hands breaking chains and the words "Everyone is welcome here" in bold letters. The change spread. Other stations adopted the same policies. State legislators proposed new laws. Maya and Jack spoke at conferences, shared their story, and inspired others. 18 months later, Maya stood at the transformed station. Black families, Latin couples, Asian businessmen, all stood confidently. Jack's Harley roared up. We did it, Maya said. You did it, Jack corrected. I just showed up. A young black woman approached nervously. Are you Maya Henderson? Maya nodded. 6 months ago, I was harassed. I didn't report it. Then I heard about you. I found the courage to report it. They investigated. The perpetrators were prosecuted. Her eyes filled with tears. Thank you. Maya hugged her. Jack watched, a change coming over his worn face. That's the thing. One person finding the courage is only possible because someone else found the courage first. 3 years later, Maya spoke at a national conference. I felt alone when I stopped at that gas station, but Jack Sullivan was there. He could have kept driving, but he chose to stop. That one choice changed everything. She looked out at the audience of thousands. Each of you will face a moment when you must choose to remain silent or raise your voice, to keep going or stop and help. Your choice ripples out. That gas station changed because one person stopped. Thousands of travelers are safer because we refuse to accept injustice. The audience stood and applauded. Jack, sitting among them, wiped away tears. He had never imagined that stopping could lead to systemic change, to liberation, to purpose. That night, on her way home, Maya passed a gas station and saw a young black man filling up his tank fearlessly, without harassment. She knew someone had made this possible. Someone had refused to accept that young people should live in fear. Someone had built systems to keep them safe. That person could have been anyone. It could have been everyone. Change didn't require perfection or extraordinary courage. It just required being there in that moment and choosing justice over comfort, action over silence, courage over fear. Sometimes that moment comes on a sunny afternoon at a gas station. Sometimes it's refusing to walk past someone in need of help. Sometimes it's challenging people who look like you. And sometimes that's enough to change everything.